Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more r/your mighty butthole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's dive straight in to today's first story. Now today's first story comes from Throwaway Broke Mom, who says, am I the arsehole for telling my daughter that her not wanting kids is why I wanted to have more children? And this story does follow with an update. I, 42 female, was a teen mum. I got married only a few weeks after I turned 18 and I gave birth to my daughter Kiara, 24 female, the week before I was 19. I was a baby myself and I resented my circumstances, especially after my husband died. The only light in my life was Kiara at the time. It was me and her against the world. When Kiara was 13, she told me she didn't want to have kids because she was scared they'd have a childhood like her. That hurt me, but it's her choice and I told her so. I started taking her to an after-school sex ed class. Her school didn't offer one, so she could learn how to be safe so she wouldn't be in a similar circumstance to me. She repeated the sentiment over the years, even though she knew I didn't like hearing it, but that's okay, it's her choice, nobody will force her. I got remarried the year Kiara graduated and my husband and I have been trying to have more kids. A few months ago, I found Kiara crying really badly in her room and she told me she was pregnant by her fiance. She told me it happened because she stopped taking her birth control. I know she didn't want kids, so I offered to take her to the clinic, but she just got more upset. I offered to take her to see a psychologist because she was so sad, but she refused. She was insistent on keeping the baby, even though she admitted that she still didn't want kids and did not feel forced by her fiance. So my husband and I decided to help her instead of having our own kids. I don't want a baby and grandbaby of the same age or grandbaby older than my grandbaby. Her pregnancy was terrible on her and she told me many times this is also why she never wanted kids. A month ago, Kiara had a really bad argument with her fiance and they broke up. Then a week ago, she miscarried. She's been inconsolable and I know exactly how she feels as I've had a miscarriage twice. I've stayed by her side and taken time off work to do so. I've been very sad too because it hurts to see my baby in so much pain and not being able to help, but I've been holding in all my own feelings because they are not important right now. Then yesterday during breakfast she asked me if my husband and I were going to have kids now that she was never going to. I was taken back by this and I tried not to answer it because I don't know. She kept pressuring me and I cracked and admitted the only reason I ever wanted to have more kids was because she never wanted kids and I wish she did want them. Kiara said some very nasty things and called me an asshole. I felt so terrible. I said that to her during such a bad time in her life, but I've also never lied to her and I don't know what she was expecting me to say. My husband assured me I just had a stress break and I feel he's right, but Kiara didn't say a word to me over breakfast today. Edit, because I was recommended in a DM to add this in case somebody thinks I'm violating the Rule 11. The central conflict is not whether or not my daughter should have kids, it is whether I was wrong to say what I did. My daughter's decision about children is her own and I support her and my decision is also my own. Nobody is forcing anybody. Edits, maybe in a week I will give an actual update to let everybody know what happened and is happening, but for now I will let everybody know that things are going fine again at my home. And as I said, we do have a full update in a moment. But we're going to jump straight to Untold Rose on this one, who says, you're the arsehole, either you want more children or you don't. Your reproducing should not be dependent on her choice not to, or down the road changing her mind and deciding to. Intentional or not, this entire scenario screams of emotional manipulation. Stop talking about either of your reproductive choices. Decide with your husband what you two want as a couple and make that choice outside of your daughter. OP replied saying, my husband agreed with me that we wouldn't have kids if she was going to. It may not sound odd to you, but having children the same age as my grandchildren is weird to me and I do not want to take the attention away from my daughter if she is a mother. I would rather be there for her than focus on myself, and I have never tried to manipulate her into having children. I know she doesn't want them and that is fine, it is her choice. Citrine Ghost says, not the arsehole, this is a delicate situation. Because you have your own personal desires of having grandchildren and she doesn't want her own kids. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to have more children in order to raise the likelihood of having a large family. The important thing is that you never put pressure on Kiara to fulfill that desire for you. That's A+. Kiara pressuring you to talk about your personal aspirations in regard to pregnancy and child rearing when she was feeling emotionally volatile was a poor choice on her end. It's not like you were going and telling her all of your plans while she was mourning. She pushed you to talk about it and then lashed out when you were honest. So because you were not pushing for Kiara to have children so your dreams of a large family could be fulfilled, and because you kept your plans to yourself while she was having a hard time, I don't think this is really your fault. It's your prerogative to have more kids if you're not done having children around. If she's upset by that, she needs to talk to a professional about her feelings and how to cope with them, not get mad at you for living your own life how you want to. I'm Not a Shitpost says, I'm gonna say no one's an asshole here. You're both stressed out and maybe said things a little harsher than you both meant. Take a bit to breathe and offer an apology when she's ready to talk. I wish you both the best. The sci-fi guy says not the arsehole. She asked, she got an honest answer. And one more from Luck of the Devil who says not the arsehole because it's not like you were blaming her. And she asked and prodded, but I don't understand what her not wanting kids has to do with you having kids. Like, how does that make you want kids? For context, I have a 23-year-old daughter who is unabashedly child-free. She says it's because we have ADHD and autism and a weird eye disorder in our genes. And I'm 46 and her child-free status has never remotely impacted my interest in having kids. I'm also super confused as to why Kiara wanted to keep the baby at all, or why on earth she stopped birth control if she didn't want to have a baby. She sounds extremely confused and could likely use some counselling. I just don't predict good things for her without it. And OP quotes a section of that and says, I don't know why. I offered several times to take her to the clinic. I do not see anything wrong with women terminating pregnancies. I offered to take her to the counsellor, but she refused each one several times. She still not has told me why she wanted to keep the baby. So now we're going to move on to the update to see what that says. So I wasn't going to do an update, but my husband told me I should since I was voted arsehole. I ended up having a talk with Kiara and told her I never should have said what I did and I was wrong. Like many of you said, I clarified what I meant and told her she is my everything. I told her that I did not want kids for grandkids, but just for our family to grow. But I would rather be there for her than focus on a baby myself. I told her I did not mean to put pressure on her because I have my own dislikes for no generation gap because of my extended family in my home country. She gave me a smile and told me she forgave me and was sorry for what she said, so I forgave her too. She told me she was willing to see the psychologist now if I would go with her, so I said I would and we booked sessions for after New Year's. But I still asked her why she was having the baby when she did not want any. This time she was willing to talk. She admitted that seeing all her friends get married and have babies and being so happy made her feel jealous and she had changed her mind. She got off birth control because of hormone issues and did not mean to get pregnant, but when she did, she decided to keep it. She said she was lying to me during pregnancy about not wanting to be pregnant because she felt like she was being a burden and felt she needed to push us all away. That did not make sense to me, but I said we will talk to the psychologist about it because she will know best. She admitted that she made up an argument and broke up with her fiancé because she felt like she was trapping him with a baby and he deserved better. She let me see their texts and it is just him checking on her and her ignoring him. She told me she did not tell him she miscarried and is scared she will lose him forever if she does. I went with her the day after to talk to him and helped her explain the situation. He forgave her and they agreed to start fresh as long as they also go to the counselling. Since then, everything has been going good at home again. Kiara seems happier and had fun at our small Christmas party with her fiancé. My husband and I also discussed maybe foster or adopting an older child since Kiara and her fiancé both announced at the party they will have kids. So thank you for teaching me the right way to say what I meant. Seeing my baby happy again means more to me than anything. And I think in the end that is a positive update as we're going to get, really, isn't it? That, you know, Kiara's agreed to go and see a psychologist now and talk about what's been going on in her life and how she's feeling. Mum is going with her so they can discuss this together, and fiance and Kiara are back together. Whilst the part that said, she admitted that seeing all her friends get married and have babies and being happy made her feel jealous and that's what changed her mind, did have me sort of rubbing my chin a bit. And I hope Kiara makes the decision for herself rather than, what other people have. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this story and your thoughts on the update as well. And we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from the OA12345 and again follows with an update titled, "Am I the arsehole for eating at my boyfriend's family's Christmas dinner?" Intriguing title. Throw away just to be safe. As a child, whenever I was invited at people's houses, my mum told me it was etiquette to eat the food they made. She would always tell me to put a considerable amount and eat all of it since it would be rude not to. First, she said it would be wasting food, and second, it would seem as if I didn't enjoy the food, which is mean since a lot of effort was put into making it. I've always followed this rule and thought it was true. If I cooked a buttload of food and no one ate, I'd be heartbroken. My boyfriend of 7 months invited me to his family Christmas dinner. I've met his parents very briefly, but nothing too formal. Anyway, we get to the food and I was pretty hungry and everything looked really amazing. I made sure to fill my plate, but not overfill, just equal amounts of everything on the table. I ate it all and, to be honest, was pretty stuffed. His mother then asked me if I wanted seconds. There was still a lot of food on the table. I took her up on the offer and put a bit more of the pasta salad. My boyfriend did give me a strange look, but I thought nothing of it at the time. Dessert comes and I chose to eat a slice of cheesecake. We then had coffee, all sitting around the fire and telling funny stories. Everyone seemed like in a very good mood and everything was great. After everything, I was honestly so happy because I was worried about dinner and meeting his parents, but I thought that everything went well. We left his parents' house in separate cars as I came directly from my parents' house to him. We reached my apartment and I can tell he is totally pissed off. I asked him what was wrong and he just blew up in my face that I had no manners, telling me that he has never seen me eat as much as I did at his parents' house and that it was so embarrassing. After further prying, he said that in his culture, when you eat a lot at a person's house, it is disrespectful because you should never go to a house on an empty stomach. He said it makes a person look desperate and there is a language barrier between me and him. And he said, in a way, fat, but not fat. Honestly, I did not understand. He said on the car ride home, his mum was talking about how embarrassing and unmannered I was to eat so much. I told him she told me to put seconds and he said, that's done to be a good hostess, but a guest should never take up on that offer. He said it would have been fine if I declined dessert, but because I had not, that I looked even more fat. I explained to him my reasoning and he called that bullshit. I honestly feel terrible, but told him if he explained to me beforehand, I wouldn't have eaten so much. But he said he thought it was common knowledge. It's been 2 days and neither of us will really talk until the other apologizes. I know it's petty to not apologize, but I sincerely don't think I did anything wrong. But I guess that's why I'm here. Edits. I've been debating on whether revealing where my boyfriend is from. I do not want to put any disrespect on his culture or receive offense comments from where he is from. But I've been receiving a lot of comments, so his whole family is Arab. I'm Mexican. But I'm not saying all Arabs follow this rule. Really, I do not know. So please refrain from anything hateful. There's many different cultures out there, but when I was younger, my family, we used to visit a family that were from Kuwait, if I pronounced that correctly. And whenever we went round their house, there was just tons of food. And I mean, the table was stacked and the food was so good. Like you purposely wouldn't eat all day because you was looking forward to that food so much. And just such a lovely family, and they would insist that you have more food, absolutely insist, and pack it up for you afterwards. They're just such good hosts. And I'm not saying this is a cultural thing or anything like that, I'm just talking about my experience here. But I feel like OP was in a no-win situation. You was offered seconds, you took up seconds, and then you get criticized for it. I mean, what the hell? And let's face it, if it was a cultural thing, which I'm not sure if it is or not, again, you clearly didn't know about it or wasn't explained that this was a cultural thing and that's what you do at the table. So again, you're in a no-win situation, so absolutely not the arsehole to me. And the fact that he got in your face when you got home, and had this go at you would raise some serious questions to me. And I know it's over food or whatever, but to me it's more than that. Piecing this no-win scenario, not having explained anything to you, and then getting your face in, having a go at you about it. I mean, what the hell was you meant to do? Safadonic says, not the arsehole, that's so toxic. You didn't even know about these cultural rules. I hate saying break up with him, but break up with him. You were just trying to be nice and you enjoyed the food. Snarkism says, not the arsehole, that sounds like some impossible game to play where no one ever wins. Either you are rude for eating too much or you're rude for declining a host's offer of seconds. Throw the boyfriend and the whole family away. Nut Michelle says, not the arsehole, if these are the rules in his parents' home, he should have told you this before you ever went there for dinner. Arake says, a lot of my family is Arab with vast regional representation, from North Africa through the Gulf and Southwest Asia. And I've travelled extensively across the Arab-speaking world, and this is the most emphatically not a cultural norm among any people I've ever encountered. My grandmother always loved non-Arab guests who had seconds, even thirds, when visiting her home. This sounds like a norm unique to his family, and one he should have prepared you for. The culture excuse is bullshit. You are not the arsehole. Rainy Pro replies to that saying, yeah, I live in an Arab country, so this was strange to me. I mean, have you seen Arab mums and grandmas? He should have explained beforehand that his parents wouldn't like her to eat a lot, even though I don't generally find people like them nice to be around. Dork86 says, not the arsehole, unless he told you. You couldn't have known. There are plenty of cultures that actually love it when you take seconds, as it shows you appreciate their food. My girlfriend is also from a country and her family always like it when I eat more. I don't see why it's such an issue from your boyfriend's side of the family. And Big Mama replies to that saying, yep, in my culture, if you don't eat the food, you're served as offensive to the hostess, and if you ask for seconds, that's a compliment. Generally, it's fine if you don't eat all of it, but if you leave too much food on the plate, it means you didn't like it, and it's kind of offensive for the person who put all that work into making it. But these are cultural differences that you can't possibly be aware of if nobody tells you. Now, we're going to turn to the update to see what that says. So, update. I've gotten a lot of DMs asking for an update, so I thought I would give one. I first want to say thank you to all the comments and support I've received. They helped a lot. One suggestion I kept getting was that my boyfriend could be lying about his mother, saying I was embarrassing or whatnot. Someone even suggested me texting his mother and apologizing for the way I ate. I ended up taking that advice for two reasons: to figure out if my boyfriend was lying and to genuinely apologize. His mother replied almost immediately, telling me there was nothing to apologize for, and she was absolutely delighted to know that I enjoyed the food. I didn't want to bring his mother in the drama, so I kept the convo between us short and screenshot the messages to send my boyfriend. I confronted him, saying that his mother didn't seem to be mad that I ate a lot at her place. We argued back and forth about it until he asked me to come over to his place. Ever since our fight, I haven't seen him in person. I arrived at his place and he seemed to calm down a lot from when we were on call, and then he explained the whole situation on why he blew up. Apparently, his parents are not doing well financially at the moment, and he knew that the leftovers of that Christmas dinner would be their leftovers for the past couple of days. He said it just angered him that I ate more than usual just because of the situation of his parents. I then told him I understood, but that gave him no right to call me fat, which he apologized for, saying that the word he was referring to was greedy and not fat. He then apologized, saying that even calling me greedy wasn't right because I wasn't being greedy intentionally. I asked him why he didn't tell me beforehand of his parents' situation, and he said he didn't think of it as an issue since I usually eat really small portions, which is true. He then explained that his mother was truly happy that I ate the way I did, because his siblings and him tend to eat a little of her food just because of her situation. I feel guilty afterwards, and he said I shouldn't have been because I didn't know, and he was sorry for not clearing everything up earlier. He also explained that his parents didn't want anyone to know of their struggles, which is also why he avoided telling me from the get-go to respect their wishes. I know this is against all of the advice I've received of leaving my boyfriend, but I've decided not to, and to take things slow and easy. I'm sorry if this isn't the revenge update many of you guys wanted, but ultimately, I think everything turned out perfect. And there's a lot of comments down below on that one about, the boyfriend is still manipulating OP to get what they want. So, and even calling the boyfriend a liar in some ways, that he gaslit OP and is now trying to manipulate her further. So with that information and from what you've got from the update, would you consider this a positive one or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, a huge thank you for spending 20 to 30 minutes with me today, getting involved in the channel, the likes, subscribes, all the good stuff. Joining me on Twitter as well is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for what you do, your love, time and support, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
Life is what you make it. I feel like I'm lazy. I can't see a way out. I've been stacking face down off canvases I painted. I just spent the rain day on drip I can't afford, but that's the price.